Hi, my name is Holly Susso. I'm originally from California, and I moved here for two reasons: to put my son through college and to be here for family.
Hey, Gen Max, you just met Holly, and we're going to tell her entire story, as much of it as we can fit into this video, in a moment. But if you don't know me, I am Brighton, and I am almost retired in Mexico. And on this channel, I help folks like you live out your dream of moving to Mexico. So let's go to Holly now and see how her dream of moving to Mexico came about. So we'll start in the beginning.
My brother moved here about 7 years ago. He has a daughter who is 7, and my mother, who is my co-parent, after she got done helping me raise my son, she wanted to be closer to family. And her sister also lives here. So we moved here so that we could be closer to my aunt, who's been here for a year, and my brother and my niece.
So that was the family aspect of brother, aunt, and niece, but let's get to the son aspect of the story.
My son wanted to go to school in Pennsylvania at Penn State. He's an aerospace engineering major, and even though it would have been much cheaper for us to stay here in California and pay in-state tuition, I really wanted to help him make his dream come true without the burden of student loans. So I decided to move to Rosarito so that I could pay for him to go to school without him having to take on loans.
So once again, let's go back to before moving to Mexico and hear about what life was like back in the States, and really how expensive was life back in the States, and then compare that to cost today here in Rosarito.
I originally lived in Southern California in Hemet, where it's really, really hot for most of the year and then really cold in the winter, which means that our heating and our cooling costs are extremely high. When we moved here to Rosarito, we cut those bills in not even half, I would say less than a quarter of the expense that we had in Southern California. Also, the food costs have dropped significantly, especially with the rising cost of groceries in the US and in California. In Hemet, we had a very small box of a house that was 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. And we were paying, I want to say $2,000 a month for that home. We had a yard, but it was a terrible community. Here in Rosarito, I live in a gated community with a pool and a clubhouse and security. We live in a 2-story, very large home with 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, and I pay $1,600.
Actually, that seems to be a common theme that I'm finding here, especially in Rosarito, is people coming down here with family, or people having family come down here, and then more and more people from their family come down. So I want to kind of get that aspect hear a little bit more about the extended family aspect of living here.
When we moved to Rosarito, our home consists of myself and my mother. And then, of course, because my brother and my aunt and my niece are very close, we are able to have those weekly Sunday dinners that we weren't able to have when we lived in California, because we were all spread out. Our lives are really chaotic. And so we weren't able to have the weekly meals. But now things have slowed down a lot for us. And it's more of the Mexico lifestyle for us to all gather around the table for family nights weekly.
So Holly is not retired. She's almost retired, or kind of living the lifestyle of almost retired, but she does work. So let's hear about what it's like to work in Rosarito/San Diego.
I work in technology. I've worked in technology for over 30 years. And so I'm still in my career. I am not a digital nomad. So what that means is that I still have to commute from Rosarito to San Diego. I cross the border every single day, and it takes me anywhere from 40 minutes to 2 hours sometimes to get to work.
So one of the recurring themes here in Rosarito is talking to people about whether or not they have a SENTRI pass. So let's find out about that.
One of the things that makes it really easy to mitigate my commute and make it much easier is I have the SENTRI pass. So instead of having to sit in the lines of traffic for upwards of 4 hours, I'm able to cross pretty quickly with a SENTRI pass.
So I want to know what's the longest. What is that? I think she mentioned 2 hours with a SENTRI pass. So I want to hear more details about that, because when I came south, I looked at the times going north, and it was something like 150 or 170 minutes in the regular lane and the ready lane, and less than 20 minutes in the SENTRI lane. And that seems to be pretty typical, is that 10, maybe 20 minutes in the SENTRI lane is typical. But let's hear about those long wait times.
The wait times can vary because it really depends on the construction. It can make a difference in the holidays if either the US is having a holiday and there's a lot of traffic flowing this way, or Mexico has a lot of holiday and there's a lot of traffic flowing in the other direction. And also spring break and summertime makes an impact to the traffic. But usually it doesn't take that long. Usually it takes me about 20 minutes to get through the SENTRI line.
And if I have that video ready about the SENTRI lane and the potential to get in it accidentally, and the problems that you'll cause yourself if you get in it accidentally, I'll have that video in one of these corners up here. So before we hear about whether Holly speaks Spanish, let's have you subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And if you are a subscriber, be sure to share this video with your friends. But now let's get on to speaking Spanish, because we are near the border, so there's a lot more people who speak English in this border region.
Mi español no es bueno, but I am learning. I do try. I practice when I can. And I find that when you come to another country, if you at least attempt to speak the language, people will be a lot more forgiving and a lot more friendly. I use Duolingo for my language. And also because my brother is fluent, he helps me. And I also have a ladies group that we help exchange language. I help people speak English and they help me speak Spanish.
So let's talk about this neighborhood that we're in here. It's rather unique. This is San Marino, and it is a big area that there's kind of a gate to get in that was actually open, and then there's smaller gated communities inside, but it's all, very nicely, the upkeep is good. So I want to know a little bit more about this part of Rosarito. We're a little bit to the north of Rosarito right now.
San Marino is a gated community. I want to say there's about 10 different communities on each side of the community, and each one of us has a pool and a really nice community area, parks, and a clubhouse. And it's a fantastic secured area, and we just love it here.
Okay, we're kind of jumping around a little bit. This is my ADD showing through, but I want to talk about furnishing this place because it was an unfurnished rental, and then we're going to have a tip for cross-border commuters, and then a bonus tip for saving money in Mexico. So let's first hear about furnishing this place and how she found it.
We worked with a realtor to find our place, and one of the criteria that I asked for with my realtor was to find us a unfurnished home because we did have our own furniture. I live with my mom who has generational furniture, and I wanted to be able to bring it with us. So we did look for a home that was unfurnished. My tip for living here is commuting is time savings across the border. If you're gonna go at off times. I work East Coast time, so I typically leave very early in the morning, and I leave here very early in the morning, and then I come back relatively early in the afternoon so that I can save time in the line. And then my last tip that I will leave you is just being conscientious and empathetic to the people who are from here. We come here as Americans, and we're very, very glad about our cost savings, but being conscientious of the fact that the influx of Americans to Mexico does raise the cost of living for the folks that are here. So just be humble and empathetic to the surroundings, and remember that you are a guest here.
So I really love that, being humble and grateful. And because we are, as we move down here for less expensive rents and things like that, we are having an impact on the communities down here. So we want to give back and also just be very conscientious of the impact we have and not be like, oh, it's so cheap here and things like that. I've tried to get rid of the word cheap in my vocabulary because it's affordable for those of us who make dollars. It may not be necessarily affordable for people who are earning in pesos. So that is where I'm going to leave this video for you. I've got a couple more videos for you to watch. One up here as a list of videos if you haven't seen the entire catalog of videos of other foreigners living in Mexico. And down here is something else that's special that YouTube's chosen just for you. Hasta luego. Wish you were here from Rosarito.